Hey guys, welcome back to Duti's Backyard Builds. This is a very special video. I was having a lot of requests on my Instagram to do a video of the complete build of my old 1986 Buick Regal Limited. So here you go guys, I hope you guys like and enjoy it. So to start off, I bought the car from my cousin. The car was all original with the exception of aftermarket paint job. The car was painted a darker blue from the original light blue color they came with. I literally hated the color, so the first thing I did was send the car to get painted back to the original color. Although I knew the paint is last to do when building a car, I refused to wait guys. That's how badly I hated the color. But before sending the car to get painted, I ordered the Grand National hood, the air dams, rear spoiler, all the weather stripping, lights, new clips, trims, and moldings. I had a good friend of mine that helped me strip down the whole car. Once everything was removed, I took the car to the paint shop and got it painted back to the original light blue color they came with. It was a single stage base coat, clear coat. Once the paint was complete, I went ahead and started working on the suspension. On my first set of brake upgrades, I went with a small rear disc brake conversion with front matching brakes and rotors. I replaced all the bushings throughout the factory suspension. Once the suspension was complete, I went ahead and contacted Ashanti and placed an order of some 24-inch wheels. The wheels were custom made for a perfect fitment without any modifications needed. There were 24s by 10 on the rear and 24 by 9s on the front. Once I installed my wheels, I took the car to local car shows. I have a lot of friends that have LS engines on their G-bodies that motivated me to do an LS swap on my G-body. So I did a lot of researches on LS engines. So I decided to go with a 6.0 LS2 from a 2006 Pontiac GTO. I purchased the engine with the factory foil 65E transmission that the GTOs came with. Once I brought the engine home, I knew I wanted to add upgrades before installing it. So I went ahead and contacted Summit Racing. I purchased a LSXR fast intake, a mild comp cam, lifters, push rods, high volume melting oil pump, adjustable timing chain, gaskets all around, ARP bolts and studs all around, retainers, seals, and double valve springs for the heads, Holley LS swap oil pan, Griffin radiator with dual fans, and LS swap standalone wire harness. Once I received everything, I went ahead and opened up the engine and started installing everything on it. Once I installed everything, I started removing the factory engine. Once the factory engine was removed, I cleaned and painted the chassis using VHT chassis paint, and as for the wheel wells and the AC box, I used VHT epoxy paint, which works great. Once everything was nice and painted, I installed the engine. Once the swap was complete, I went ahead and got the car tuned from a good friend of mine. Like I said on my last video, very knowledgeable and experienced tuner. You can look him up on Instagram by the name DSM Lights Tune. So once the car was street tuned, I drove the car for a couple of miles. I also went to a lot of car shows, but I was then ready for a turbo upgrade. So I knew before installing a turbo setup, I needed to upgrade the factory suspension. So I went ahead and contacted Summit Racing and ordered for the front QA1 upper and lower control arms, adjustable coilovers, Hotchkiss forged inner outer tie rods, center link, sway bar, and tie rod sleeves, Wilwood 6-piston brakes. As for the rear, I went with 4-piston Wilwood brakes, QA1 upper and lower control arms, UMI anti-roll bar, shock mount tower brace, and adjustable coilovers. Once I received everything, I went ahead and started removing the complete suspension. Once the suspension was completely removed, I started cleaning the chassis. I used a wire brush and degreaser to remove all dirt and grease from it. Once everything was clean nice, I went ahead and started installing the front suspension and brakes. Once the front was complete, I went ahead and started installing the rear suspension. As for the rear end internals, I took it to a local shop that specializes in rear ends. Goes by the name Rick from Strictly Business Racing. Very knowledgeable mechanic, had me in and out with my 373 gears, posi, and axles installed for my 8.5 Grand National rear end. Once the suspension was complete, I went ahead and purchased the complete fuel system. I went with the Magna Fuel 750 fuel pump with the pre and post filter, sump for the gas tank, upgraded fast fuel rails, 1000cc FIC injectors. Once the fuel system was complete, I went ahead and contacted Precision Turbo. I purchased their PT7675 Precision Turbo with 66mm wastegates and a 64mm blowout valve. I also contacted RJC and purchased their front mount intercooler for Grand Nationals. I've removed the transmission and sent it to get a stage 4 built, TCI flex plate, and a TCI 3500 turbo converter. Once I had all the parts, I contacted a good friend of mine, John, experienced welder and very knowledgeable with turbos. He installed and welded all my turbo pipings. Once everything was complete, she was ready for a tune. I contacted DSM Lights Tune and got a dyno tune. The car made around 700 rear wheel horsepower at 15 psi of boost. Once the car was dyno tuned, I took the car once to the track. Guys, it was my first time at a track, so I did a lot of rookie mistakes. I spun out like crazy, but hey, I did have a lot of fun with my family and friends out there. So after that, I took the car to a lot of car shows and events. Guys, I love the race look as well. I ended up calling Billet Specialties and purchased their 17-inch streetlight racing wheels with B-locks. As for the rear tires, I went with the big 305 Mickey Thompson's drag radials. The wheels gave the car a real nice aggressive look. Guys, I believe that completes the complete build of my 1986 Buick Regal Limited. I really appreciate you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, please comment below. I'll be more than gladly to answer it to the best of my ability. Also guys, I'm no expert. I'm learning as I'm going. I do appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.
Cut.